What's going on, guys? This is Peter Hartzell here. Welcome to another Power Up. I hope you are doing well and that you are finding lots of amazing, helpful resources inside your Bridge Builder membership. Tonight, I'm going to be flying solo, and I'm going to be kind of talking a little bit about something that Chauncey and I got into this morning on a phone call, and we're talking about the importance of establishing and creating a roadmap for success. And generally speaking, when you're building, like if you've never owned your own business before and you're looking into starting your own thing, maybe you're working a 9-to-5 and you're trying something on the side, wanting to get into entrepreneurship. Maybe you've been an entrepreneur for a really long time and you can, validate elements of what I'm going to talk about here. But a lot of times we're creative. We like to make things. We like to do things, produce. And so we get into business so that we can, exercise our passion, multifaceted passions. A lot of entrepreneurs are very multi-talented, have lots of different skills that are complementary in nature. Like I'm a musician, but I'm also in, marketing and creative stuff. So those things pair nicely with each other. And sometimes you may be really creative or really good at what you do, but you may not be very entrepreneurial in the way that you think about yourself or the way you do things. Doesn't mean that you can't be an entrepreneur. It just means that your tendency is to think more on the creative side of making or doing the thing that you love to do and not really thinking much about how to monetize that. And so it can be challenging when you start your own business to really achieve any sort of goals or actually achieve any, anything that would be sustainable as far as like income for your family, if you don't have a roadmap and a kind of a plan of attack. And this can be very rudimentary. I remember some of my earlier kind of roadmaps. I wouldn't even call them roadmaps. They were just kind of Word documents or text documents on my phone. I listed off a few things that I wanted to achieve and kind of rough dates for which I wanted to achieve them. I didn't hit any of those, by the way. I didn't meet any of those markers, but you know what? I was definitely a whole lot closer to those goals than I was the day that I wrote them down, just because I wrote them down. And now there have been things in my business where I have just had an ambition to try to do something. And when I was met with enough resistance because I didn't really have a plan in place or I didn't take the time to really plot out my roadmap. When that challenge came up, it was enough to kind of knock me off course and either get me distracted or get me discouraged. And when you get distracted or when you get discouraged is typically right around the time that you start to burn out and you start to look for other options. And I know one marker for me when I'm starting to kind of hit that burnout is I start thinking about what life would be like if I was doing something different. And, I can say gladly that over the last probably 3 or 4 years, there really hasn't been a time where I've sat around and thought or wished I could be doing something totally different. I will also say that this last 3 or 4 years has kind of met me with a lot of challenges and a lot of some things that were kind of reasons to quit, reasons to totally throw in the towel and try something new, go get a job. I think during the COVID pandemic, when everything was shut down, it affected all of our businesses in a very distinct ways. And, there's still things that I feel the effects of from the lockdown when everything changed, man, the world changed and it was hard. It was really hard for a lot of, independent business owners, as well as even bigger companies. They felt the squeeze. And but I will say that through the pandemic, what I can say that I walked through that without the fear of really losing my job. I just had to get creative and pivot and try to find other creative ways to keep the income rolling in. And a lot of that has to do with having diverse forms of income or diverse streams or channels of revenue. So all of your revenue isn't just coming from one client or one set of activities. So that's one thing to, to kind of keep in mind. And that's something you build into your roadmap. That's something that you plan for. You don't want to front load yourself with too much work in the beginning. You want to get laser focused in the beginning on one thing, the one thing that's kind of your core main thing. So maybe you're a photographer. I know a lot of people that have struggled that are photographers that they get into wedding photography because it's low hanging fruit. It's easy, and they really like to do wildlife photography, or they really like to do landscape photography, but you have to be really good. You have to have a lot of visibility. You have to have a desirable catalog in order to make any money selling, like real money selling your photography. And so a lot of photographers end up picking up weddings and, high school senior pictures and, family portraits and things like that, just to kind of keep the revenue coming in while they really pursue their passion of landscape and animal photography. So that can be a real challenge. But if you are determined, I'm not going to be a wedding photographer, I am going to make a living doing landscape photography, then you have to get super, super hyper focused on researching the different ways or avenues to generate revenue shooting landscapes, and look at your competition and figure out what other people are doing to make money, and get creative with it, and recognize that you're going to have to diversify. You're going to have other ways, streams of income. And maybe if you're a photographer, but you're also musically inclined, or you are good at like editing photos, you could pick up some extra work on the side, doing touch-ups for other photographers, or, editing photos and things like that. So you think outside the box. You have a couple tools in your tool belt, and then you start to say, build your roadmap and say, in 1 year, I want to replace my current income. And in 5 years, I want to triple that income. And my goal and my reason for doing that is because I want to bring my wife home so she doesn't have to go to work anymore. Or I want to start putting money aside for my kid for, his future. Future investments in his future opportunities, or her future opportunities. Like, really think about your motivations and why you're doing what you're doing, so that when the challenges come, and they will come, you're prepared for it. You've kind of already been there in your mind, and so when you get to that point in reality, it's not a surprise. So there's a lot more to this, guys. And honestly, this is what I do day in and day out with all of my clients. And I love talking about it. I love hearing other people's stories and things that people are passionate about, and trying to help find creative solutions to problems and areas of growth or growth opportunities in your business. I love that. So if you need help with that stuff in any way, that's one of the reasons we're here. It's one of the reasons this organization exists. And if you want to go deeper with me and work with me, and we can kind of partner together to help you build your thing, whatever that is, I'd love to talk to you about that too. But at the very least, as part of this network, I'm here, and Chauncey and all the other mentor partners in our network are all here to support you, resource you, encourage you, get you access to the opportunities that you need to thrive. And that's really why this whole thing exists. It's why Chauncey and I really have been devoting so much time and energy in building this. It's for you and for your success now and in the future. This is Bridge Builders. We're building bridges and changing lives. We'll see you on the next Power Up.